Hey guys, welcome back. Now, as you saw already in the thumbnail, I am going to talk about how you can choose the best mutual fund plan for yourself. How you can choose a mutual fund. It needs to be decided as per your goals and the ways, the parameters that you need to look at whenever you are going to choose a mutual fund. So, without for any further ado, let me just share my screen and let me give you a very brief idea of how you can choose a mutual fund for yourself without having to any kind of intervention from somebody else, because most of the times whenever people are choosing mutual funds, they go on autopilot. Whatever their financial advisor tells you, they just go and buy that. And there is nothing against financial advisors, because I'm also doing something similar. But my goal is to make you self independent and create enough awareness regarding the fact that you can also choose mutual funds that are suitable for you. Okay, let me share my screen now. Perfect. Yeah. Now, there are many parameters that you need to look out for whenever you are going to choose a mutual fund. Whenever, of all the mutual funds that I have personally invested in, I make sure that I'm investing for the long term. And for me, long term is a time horizon of 5 to 10 years, because I'm right now in my 20s. I have a lot of time to take risks. So 5 to 10 years is, I believe, is a reasonable amount of time for me to actually put my money in a mutual fund or maybe in an individual stock. So that's how I look at it from this angle. Okay, so here is what you should actually consider while selecting a mutual fund for investment. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, number one, your goal. Your goal should be very clear. Are you saving for a vacation? Are you saving for your marriage? Are you saving to buy a house? Are you saving to buy a car? That goal needs to be in your head, that you know what, I'm saving my money for this very particular goal that I have. Number two, risk. Risk actually comes from not knowing what you are going to get into. Risk comes from not having enough knowledge about, how, what kind of a risk does this mutual fund profile has, and how am I going to make sure that this I don't end up losing my money. Although on a long enough time frame, mutual funds have been proven to be a good investment instrument, but people are still scared because in India there is very few people who are participating in mutual funds. So obviously, taking risk is something that people stay away from, and people in India are pretty risk averse when it comes to certain things regarding investing and about their money. Third, fund performance. So, for example, you now know your goal, you know your risk appetite. Third would be fund performance. How has the mutual fund that you want to put your money in performed in the last 1 year, or the last 3 years, or the last 5 years? When you get the enough historical data, then you will be able to make changes. Then you will be able to allocate this a particular amount of money in this very particular mutual fund. Expense ratio. Expense ratio, I have spoken so many times in the past, is the cost that is involved to actually make that fund, because salaries need, so salary of the fund manager is actually coming out of fund expense ratio. The mutual fund house or distributor is running because of that expense ratio. AC, coffee machine, employee hiring, all of these things are actually coming out of you actually paying a certain fraction or a percentage of your amount that you pay to the mutual fund owner. So that is has to be like low, and as much low as it is, the better it is for you to actually get your return. Entry and exit load. Let me explain what that is. Entry load is a certain amount of money that you pay to actually enter a particular mutual fund. Nowadays, if you are actually buying or getting into a mutual fund, there is almost no entry load, but exit load is something that is still applied. So when you are going to take out your money from that mutual fund, and there has to be a time duration, a certain amount of money would be actually kept with the mutual fund distributor or that creator of that fund, so that they make money. And exit load is usually because people sometimes get scared and start doing panic selling, so because of which exit load is actually applied on the mutual fund. Sixth comes the taxes, and seventh comes the direct plan. So taxes, if you actually have bought an equity mutual fund, then you will have to pay 10% tax if you are linking through a long term capital gains. If you are just going to sell your mutual fund, the NAVs that you're getting, net asset value, and you sell it before 1 year, then you pay short-term capital gains tax, whatever gains that you made on that. All right. Now coming to the mutual fund screener, how you can choose. Now see here in this screen, you are able to see how many mutual funds it's actually showing. So you can actually first of all search. This is a mutual fund screener in the first place. It can be equity mutual fund. It can be a tax saver mutual fund, which is ELSS, equity linked savings scheme. It can be a debt mutual fund. It can be a hybrid mutual fund. So any of these options can come across your way that you can actually, see how much it has been done. Value research ratings. So what is the value research? So it is actually done like a credit rating that is done by Crisil, but in this here, this is just a parameter given by Economic Times on how you can select a mutual fund on the basis of whatever it is. Risk grade: low to moderate, moderately high, high, and very high. Now, usually, equity mutual funds are amongst high and very high rate because they are very volatile as compared to the market, depending upon the beta or alpha of that mutual fund. But if you decided to invest in a hybrid mutual fund is basically a mix of debt mutual fund and a mix of equity mutual fund. So that's how they are merged together and becomes a hybrid mutual fund. So hybrid mutual fund are maybe on moderately high. Tax saver funds are again equity linked savings schemes, so they would have a high risk grade, and just debt funds are not as volatile as the market is. So you need to be careful about it in that regards as well. Now you can also select minimum SIP investment 100, 100, 200, 500, 500. And then there are multiple other options like dividend fund or growth fund or direct or regular. So let me explain what direct and regular is. Direct mutual fund is you are actually purchasing the mutual fund directly from the house and there is no third person involved. There is no middleman. Whereas in a regular plan of a mutual fund, the financial advisor that you have also gets a small commission every single time you make a payment into that mutual fund. So for example, आपने SIP कराया 5,000 रुपए का हर महीने जाएगा. Now उसका जो expense ratio होगा ना, a part of that expense ratio in regular mutual fund would be given to the mutual fund distributor जो आपने लगाया है. That is what it is most of the time. Now for example, let's take a look at Axis Blue Chip Direct Plan Growth. Its NAV is 50.96. NAV is basically net asset value. So इस mutual fund में कौन से मतलब जो चीजें रखी हुई हैं वो बताएगा. Performance quality has been excellent. Generated returns 4 out of 5. Increased returns for each unit of additional risk 5 out of 5. Returns since inception. So जब ये फंड स्टार्ट हुआ था और ये डायरेक्ट अगर आपने इसमें पैसा डाला होता एज डायरेक्ट you would have made 16% gain on your initial investment. So for example आपने जो है अगर 100 रुपए डाले इस फंड में जब ये स्टार्ट हुआ, आपके 100 रुपए अब 116 रुपए बन चुके होते, 16.6 रुपए बन गए होते अगर आपने उस टाइम पे जब ये फंड स्टार्ट हुआ. और ये इज अ रीजनेबली लॉन्ग इनफ फंड है. नाउ since inception, category average, it has actually outperformed the category and has given a good enough rating compared to the industry average, and investment amount आपका बढ़ाता जा रहे हैं हर महीने. So this is 10,000 every month you are investing. हाँ, इसमें 10,000 जो है आपका अमाउंट इंक्रीज हो रहा है हर महीने, and it has given a higher than market average return in this case. इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न्स कैलकुलेटर. सो ये देख लो, ये एक आपको मैं दिखाना चाहूंगा. व्हाट इज इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न? टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट इज ऑफ 6 लाख. यू मेड अ प्रॉफिट ऑफ 3.9 लाख, 3.5 लाख, एंड देन करंट वैल्यू ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट इज इक्वल टू 9.5 लाख. वो जुड़ के प्रॉफिट आपका आ गया 9.5 लाख. So this fund has given total value of 9.5 lakh with a profit of 3.5 lakh. Category average is 9.09 lakhs. So profit आपका होता अगर इस कैटेगरी में आपने किसी फंड को लिया होता 3.09 lakh, which is 16.6% return. Annualized return of Axis Blue Chip Fund Direct Plan का 18.4% था. बैंक एफडी आपने 6 लाख रुपए इन्वेस्ट करे, आपकी टोटल वैल्यू बनी 7.16 लाख एंड 1.16 लाख आपका रिटर्न आता अगर आपने बैंक में एफडी करी होती विद 7% annualized return. So right now in India, inflation stands at 6.5%, and you would have only made 1.18% in returns because inflation also ate into the amount of money that you invested. That is why people say that FD is not the best instrument for investment. And even if you want to actually protect your money, there are multiple other plans that you can invest your money into to actually protect yourself from market volatility. गोल्ड गोल्ड में आपका अमाउंट हो गया होगा 6 लाख इन्वेस्ट करें 8.06 लाख and the profit would have been 2.06 lakh, which becomes an annualized return of 11.77%. Now, based on that, you should also, whenever you are going to select a mutual fund for yourself, you need to look at the asset allocation as well as allocation by sector. So, सबसे पहले allocation in Axis Blue Chip fund में financial financial sector is the highest allocation with 36% allocation to finance. Technology as a sector has been given 19% allocation. Services 9.15 and healthcare is 6.17% is ये sector allocation है. Top stock holdings, the top four stocks that are being bought into this in this very particular fund are Bajaj Finance Limited, Infosys Limited, which is an IT stock, उससे ऊपर वाला था फाइनेंस स्टॉक, ICICI Bank Limited, which is 9.02%, and Avenue Supermarts, which is DMart, उसका 7.8% इसकी कैटेगरी है. Also, let's do a comparison with other funds. So, it has an this fund has an annualized return of 18.8%. Average in this category जो है ना वो है 14%. So this is outperforming the market, Axis Blue Chip Fund, and it is giving a higher return in this regard. Now comparing it to sorry, Canara Robeco Equity Blue Chip Equity Fund has given an annualized return of 17%. Nippon India Sensex 15.97%. HDFC India Index Sensex Fund 15.92. Tata Index Sensex Funds is 15.82. So सब ने 15 to 17% की कैटेगरी में आप लोगों को you got return on your investment. But Axis Blue Chip Fund in this regards has been an equity fund and it's a large cap fund with annual return of 18% in this category. And iski jo allocation by market cap hai, it contains only large cap stocks in its entire portfolio. उसके अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है. Now यहाँ पे भी ना एक बार दिखाता हूँ आपको, यहाँ से ज्यादा बेटर होगा टिकर टेप पे आपको दिखाऊं. Now there is a new feature by Screener that has allowed you to actually create a screen of mutual funds as well. So let's just say आपका जो risk appetite है is high. So you want to take in mid cap fund or a flexi cap fund. We need to look at we are looking at equity funds. Funds tracking Nifty and ELSS funds. ELSS are tax saving funds. Funds tracking Nifty are the ones which would be passive funds. So one thing that I failed to mention was there are two types of funds as well when you're purchasing a mutual fund. One are passive funds, the other is active funds. Active funds require an active fund manager to actually keep on looking at the market and make the allocation accordingly. And passive funds are those which are tracking the index of Nifty या कोई भी और तरह का इंडेक्स को ट्रैक कर रहे हैं and they don't do any active allocation in this regard ताकि जो है आपके पैसे सेफ है और जो जैसी मार्केट रिएक्ट कर रही है वैसे ही आपके पैसा उसमें जाएगा. So that's why the expense ratio even in passive funds is much lower compared to an active fund जहां पे एक बंदा एक्टिवली आपके फंड्स को मैनेज कर रहा है, आपके दिए हुए पैसों को जो है ना एलोकेट कर रहा है इन डिफरेंट डिफरेंट बिजनेसेस. Okay. Let's also select Kager. So Kager 3%, 3-year Kager should be um, 3-year Kager should be about 20%, and that's it. So now we are getting 47 results. Should I add a filter? Let's add a filter. Alpha outperformance, much rather beta. I would be interested in beta. Okay. Okay. Yeah, one thing done. Expense ratio. Yeah, alpha. So alpha has to be 0 to 1. 0.3 to 25. Now we are getting 12 results. So alpha is outperformance compared to the Nifty. So सबसे पहले आया Nippon Tax Saver ELSS fund, which has an assets under management of 11,500 crores with a CAGR of 12.96%. CAGR is compounded annual growth results. Yeah. Then we also came across HDFC Tax Saver Funds. Again, it's equity linked savings scheme. It's a growth fund and assets under management are 8863. सो ये एक अच्छा वाला फंड होगा जिसमें आप अपना पैसा डाल सकते हो. 3 ईयर केगर इज 13.68%. अल्फा इज 2.36. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपकी निफ्टी में आपने 100 रुपए डाले. अल्फा बेसिकली इज 2 रुपए ज्यादा आउट परफॉर्म करेगा. अगर उन्होंने 100 रुपए आपके 110 रुपए हुए, Alpha, because it's got 2.36 है, it would be higher amount that you are going to get with the benchmark index. So that's what it is. ICICI Pru Equity Link Savings Fund. It has an assets under management of 9,500 crores. 3 year CAGR is 17% and expense ratio is 1, which is a bit high because it's an active fund. So ये सारे active funds हैं. और यहाँ पे बेस्ड ऑफ जो सारे हमने स्क्रीनर्स लगाए हैं, इसमें सारे इक्विटी लिंक्ड सेविंग्स स्कीम्स आई हैं. एंड द बेस्ट वन दैट आई सी फॉर माय ओन पर्सनल यूज, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू रिकमेंड एनी काइंड ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड टू यू, बट द वन दैट आई फाउंड मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग इज निपॉन इंडिया टैक्स सेवर फंड, विच इज एन ELSS fund, growth, and has the highest assets under management. 3 year CAGR has been a bit low on 12.96, बट अल्फा इसका 0.56 है. सो बहुत ज्यादा रिस्की है, वॉलेटाइल भी नहीं है, आउट परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहा टू द मार्केट. सो दिस was the video on how you can select a mutual fund for yourself and the best mutual fund plan that you can start to invest your money in. क्योंकि अगर आपके पास इतना टाइम नहीं है to actually daily actively बैठो, seeing the market, seeing the news that is on the financial market, then this is the kind of mutual fund would be the best investment for you in this regard. And with that said, let's come back to conclusion. So I hope you found something of value from this video. I hope आप लोगों को पता लगा हो कि जो है ना म्यूचुअल फंड्स आर, हाउ आर दे सेलेक्टेड, एंड जो है you can see how you can not just select a good mutual fund but also make sure that the parameters are there that will actually allow you to make the most out of your investment. With that said, I will bid adieu. Tata, bye bye, shabak khair, अगली बार मिलूंगा. Thank you.